Okay.
Walaikum salam. Yes, Riaz.
We can start.
Yes, yes. Just wait for Safdar. Just wait.
Yeah, Safdar is also joined.
Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
We can get started, dear Jahid.
Safdar, just check the Sanjay sir is already joined or not. Just wait 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute. Let me check all this.
Because I cannot see him here.
Yeah, let's see. Okay.
Ramanna, just check with Sanjay sir. Yes, Safdar, we can start now.
Dear Ramana, you have changed the order, something? Hello? Hello, Ramana?
Safdar, Riaz with you.
Riaz, we have changed the order. The first speaker is Mr. Devendra Rathore.
No.
Yes,
Sanjay sir.
Safdar, Safdar, it is always there. The experienced speaker, we will keep number 2. No problem. Just keep it.
But when I was checking with Sanjay sir, he said my turn is second. Okay, not a
Yes,
problem.
yes. Let keep
Okay.
Sanjay sir for a second.
So let me see our first speaker, Mr. Devendra Rathore, is there
Yes,
or not?
he's there. He's there already.
Okay, welcome everyone for this technical meet number 9 for ASSP-KC Process Safety Management Forum. It has been wonderful session every third of Wednesday. And for today program agenda, like welcome address, we said it. Usually in Zoom platform, there is a connectivity issue. You may be logged out sometimes. So don't get panicked. Please rejoin us and our moderator will help you to log in. So the program is like the introduction and background welcome address by American Society President Mr. Jahid Thakur, then introduction and background with Mr. Ujjwal Ritwik, Mr. PSM Community Moderator. And we are having presentation of first presentation case study on Seso case and the safety problem in production 245 trichlorphenol by presenter Devendra Rathore, operation engineer, Kuwait National Petroleum Company, and there will be question and answer session. Then it will be self-introduction to the new member to the forum by our moderator. And we'll be having second presentation by experience sharing on PSM failure leading to LPG fire explosion and fatality by Sanjay Jaswal, CSP CIH and safety specialist in Kuwait Oil Company. And then there will be expectation from PSM forum pluses and delta by our PSM community moderator, Mr. Ujjwal Ritvik. An announcement and concluding remark by myself, Safdar Ali Khan. Mr. Majhar cannot make it because he's having flu today. So I will invite our ASSP-KC President, Mr. Jahid Thakur, for his welcome address.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Sabdar. Hope I am audible, right?
Yes, dear.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to all. Hope you and your family members are doing well. On behalf of ASSP Kuwait chapter, I would like to welcome all the participants for today's process safety technical meet. In order to develop professionals in the field of process safety and to provide a platform for networking, ASSP Kuwait chapter established a special PSM specialty group. And this is the 9th technical PSM technical meet. Since last 9 months, we are conducting this. And we have with us our ASSP Kuwait chapter founder member and PSM guru, Ujjwal Ritvik sir. Welcome, sir. And we are conducting this process safety meet every month on 3rd Wednesday. Our upcoming events, let me brief you about something regarding GCC Excellence Award. Last week on 11th March, we already launched a GCC Excellence Award program. Since 2009, we are organizing this program, and companies from private sector, they are participating in this one, and they are showing their safety performance and the commitments towards safety. Almost 57 or 58 members are there. I would like to request all our beloved members to participate and to just convince their management and convey this message to their top management, and request all uh, private sector companies to participate in this GCC award program. I would like to welcome both our experienced speaker Sanjay sir and Mr. Devendra Rathod. Sanjay sir is having almost 30 plus years experience, and he is very actively supporting to the HSC professionals here in Kuwait on different aspects. And Mr. Devendra Rathod, who is having more than 15 years of experience in process safety. Technical meet, as always, our founder member, Mr. Ujjwal Ritvik sir, used to say, technical meet means meet. We have to meet either virtually or whatever way in this pandemic situation. But we have to utilize this platform for networking, for asking questions and enhance our knowledge. Hope both speaker today will do very good knowledge sharing with their experience, and definitely our all members will get benefited from this. Thank you very much, and over to you, Safdar.
Thank you. Now I will invite our community moderator, Mr. Ujjwal Ritvik, to take the lead and start introduction and background. Ujjwal Ritvik.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Sardar.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. And first of all, let me congratulate the team, all of you, and Jahid, Mazhar, you, everyone around, that you are doing a second term. Rather, you have accepted this request, because in these hard times, it is difficult to conduct election and then hand over to another team with the same vigor and continue the operations with the same level of activity that you have shown. So thank you for accepting this. Now, coming back to the PSM community, I'm so happy that this is 9th month and you are, all of you together, you are able to continue this uninterrupted, and one after another, good speakers are coming, good people are coming who are ready to accept that yes, we did a mistake and this is the mistake we have done, and this is the way I tell you, don't do this. This is the whole idea about these experience sharing presentations. Now, let me lay the ground rules, or rather convey the ground rules once again. We over 100 people are joining these meetings, and they are from various parts of the world, not only from Kuwait, but I see that right from Malaysia to Argentina, we have participants on these meetings, and that's a very good. That's very good to the community itself. You are the torch bearers, and you are leading the way. Now, the ground rules are that first of all, this is, as just now Jahid also told, this is not a this is not a training session. This is a meeting. Every month on third Wednesday, we meet at 7 p.m. Kuwait time, and we know each other. We come to know from each other their experiences. So we keep two presentations, each 15 minutes, no more. And those presentations, the first one is by someone upcoming who would like to share a past incident, most of the time well-known incidents, and it is just to remind us as to what was the incident and what were the lessons learned. This is just to remind because like today we are going to have Seso, today we are going to have Flixborough incident. Now we will be reminded, it is possibly every student of safety knows or has gone through this incident sometime in the life, in their professional life. However, today we will be reminded. And as my guru, Trevor Klets, he has very, succinctly, he has said that people, they forget. Organizations, they do not have memory of their own. People have to be reminded again and again. Every generation, every 5 years, every 2 years, people have to be reminded. And that's what these things are, these presentations are about. So 15 minutes of presentation, and I keep on telling you don't have to be preparing very high order, high class PowerPoint presentations. It could be anything. It could be a PDF. It could be an Excel. It could be or sometime even nothing. Some of you have seen this podcasts, heard podcast. It could be just like a podcast, and we will be following it with some question answer. Then this time we'll be spending some good time in getting to know the new people who are there. And then we will move to the second presentation. And that is by an experienced, like just now we heard, Sanjay is so experienced, various companies he has worked, various capacities he has worked. He has dealt with by himself so many challenging situations. So he will be talking about that. And when I talk about my challenging situation, means what? I will be talking about where I failed, and that is what I want to share with all of you. That look, here I failed. Do not do your. I advise you not to repeat that. So that is the theme that he would be talking about. Again, 15 minutes and followed by 5 minutes of question answer. Then we will have some further time for knowing each other, some common issues and concerns, if that is there, and we will conclude the session. So this is the format, and I request both the speakers as well as the participant to follow this. And when I say participants, participants means not listeners. You are not listeners. Like a YouTube, or a movie theater, you put your tape there or your movie there, and you just watch. It is not like that. You are participants. Means what? You have to listen, ask questions, raise doubts, clarify your doubts, etc. And we also expect that in future sessions, future meetings, you come forward and present yourself. This is not about everything about experts. No, this is not about that everyone has to be very super duper. No, it is about us. All of us, we are climbing the ladder. So it is talking about ourselves. So talk about yourself. And with this, I would hand over to Mr. Rathore. Mr. Rathore, I understand he works for KNPC, but Mr. Devendra Rathore, please spend a couple of lines about yourself, about your past experience, current place, and then go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ramanaji, can you see my presentation? I'm sharing my screen.
Maybe it is. Are you trying, Devendraji? Shall I share the line?
Yeah. Just wait. I am trying. Just wait.
Devendraji, I'm going to share it.
Okay, sir. You can share. Yeah, I will follow you. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening.
Are you getting? No, right?
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah. It is visible now.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shall we move ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Good evening. Namaskar to all of you. This is Devendra Rathore with you. I'm currently working with KNPC as an operation engineer. And this is my first opportunity to speak in front of you. So thank you, SSP, for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Ujjwal sir, for the motivating words. Your words always keep us motivating to do something for the PSM. And thank you, Safdar sir and Jahid sir, for the opportunity. So we will start this Seso dioxin disaster. This was one of the worst disaster, environmental disaster happened ever in the history, other than the Bhopal gas tragedy. So this accident was ranked 8th in the list of worst man-made environment disaster by Time magazine in year 2010. So toxicological disasters are basically rare events with high impact to the health and environment. These are not only restricted to the immediate losses, but they have a long-term effect on the surrounding and the humankind. Yeah. So basically, this factory, this ICAMSA factory. ICAMSA factory was near the Milan, the capital of the Italy, Milan, a Meda location. It was founded in 1946. It was a part of this Swiss subsidiary, and it was producing this synthetic fragrances. Right. In 1963, it is taken over by Roche Group, Germany, and they become the major stakeholders in the ICAMSA. ICAMSA stands for Industries Camche Meda Society Arizona area. Right. Yeah. So this is the photo of the actual plant. So where they are producing this trichlorophenol, TCP. Yes, the next slide, please. So the plant was made in 1946, but the production of trichlorophenol was started in 1969. And it was the intermediate product which is used for the making the final production of hexachlorophene. So this is basically a disinfectant used in the medicinal soaps of the Roche group. So first, this dioxin was first known to the human in the Vietnam War, which was used by U.S. Army as a warfare, biological warfare, written as a component of the defoliant agent orange. Previously, substance has been banned from agricultural use because of this high toxical content and the effect. Next slide. Yeah. So we'll discuss about the process. How the process it was the batch process where this 1245 tetrachlorophenzene TCB we call it was reacted with sodium hydroxide to give 245 trichlorophenol. In the process, there was a byproduct called as a TCDD. It involves two stages. In the first stage, there is an alkaline hydrolysis of 1245 tetrachlorophenzene TCB using sodium hydroxide. Reaction mixture also contact xylene. Xylene is also used. In the second stage, this acidification is carried out with the HCl. The ingredient were heated to 150 degree until no further water was formed. The temperature was then slowly increased to 170 degree to remove xylene and ethylene glycol, and was subsequently removed under vacuum. Right? So after the removal of this ethylene glycol, reactor was subjected to cold water to reduce the temperature. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So you can see here, this is the batch reactor where it is a 10,000 liter reactor with a steam heating coil system, which also could be used to circulate the emergency cooling water. And it is a batch process. The reactant were heated using the ethylene glycol as a solvent and addition of xylene to facilitate the removal of water through a azeotropic distillation. Right. This TCDD in the normal operating conditions at the 180 degrees, 150 to 180 degrees centigrade, this TCDD formation was very less, means not exceeding the 1 ppm of the byproduct. But during this prolonged heating, if in case it's subjected to the prolonged heating, means 230 to 260. So this TCDD formation will increase 1,000 times. Yeah, next slide, please. Ramanaji, next slide. Yes, yes. So what happened in the event, in the sequence of event we'll discuss here now. This the batch, it was the batch process, and it started on the Friday evening, 16 hours, on the 9th July 1976. The reactor was charged with 2000 kg of trichlorobenzene and 1050 kg of sodium hydroxide, and ethylene glycol along with the xylene. So after the reaction part of the ethylene distilled off, the solvent fraction removed was only 15%. So they are supposed to actually remove the solvent fractions when they are stopping this batch process. And most of the vessels solvent was left in the vessel. So it was a certain thing which was against the operating protocol. The shutdown was taken at the end of the shift because this ICAMSA plant was running in the batch, and they were only having operations in the weekdays. So they were supposed to take the shutdown for the weekend. So they took the shutdown at the Saturday morning, 5 a.m. and the intention to reduce the temperature to 50 to 60 degrees centigrade. But it didn't happen. The reactor was not brought down to 50 degrees centigrade. The temperature recorder was switched off. So at that time in the 1970s something, so all things were manual only. So the temperature recorder also they have put it off. So the last temperature which was recorded was 158 degrees centigrade. So instead of reducing it to the 50 to 60 degrees centigrade, they kept it left it at the 158 degrees centigrade. So with this high temperature, and there was no agitation, stirring to put as a cooling. So this condition resulted into this runaway reactions. So after 6 hours, 6.5 hours, this bursting of disc, this safety valve ruptured observed and released the content to the atmosphere. This 2378 tetrachlorobenzoparadioxide. So this was the byproduct, but because of this runaway reaction and the high temperature and the pressure, this production of this byproduct has enhanced several folds. So this release affected the area of 18 square kilometer. So let us discuss about this TCDD. What is this TCDD? TCC has a minimum lethal dose of 3.1 into 10 to minus 3 moles per kg. That's very minimum. And this is the most potent toxin ever known to the mankind. It is insoluble in the water. Decontamination is very difficult. Chloroacne. Chloroacne is the skin diseases. Damage to the immune system, pancreas, teratogen. Teratogen means it hurts the development of the embryos during the pregnancy. Carcinogen is the cancer causing, and TCDD can be taken into body by ingestion, inhalation, or the skin contact. So basically, next slide. So this product which we are producing is the hexachlorophene. It is the bactericide. So as discussed, this hazardous effects of the dioxins which affect your nervous system. This is also absorbed by earth and the plants, causes cancer, circulatory problem, suppress immune system, respiratory problems, liver damage, reduced reproductive capacity. So multiple, it leads to the exposure of this TCDD leads to the multiple failures. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. So after the release, this release happened around 12:30, 12 noon, I think. It was observed by one of the maintenance foremen who has observed this rupturing of this disc and release of the chemical to the atmosphere. And at the 1 p.m. they called this deputy head of the production about the incident, and he visited the field and he seen nothing abnormal in the location. At the same evening, 7 p.m., he has told his factory porter to inform the local public health officer to inform about the incident. And unfortunately, on that fateful day, the health officer was not traceable. So even his deputy was not available. So somehow this incident was reported in the another district at 8 p.m. on the same day. And on the 11th July, next day, 4 p.m., this ICAMSA representative met Mayor of Meda and Seso to warn population not to touch or eat local fruit or the vegetable, because it was more susceptible to go through the food chain. Yeah. So in the from 11 to 15th, 15 they did nothing. So on the 15th July, the mayors of the Meda and Seso designated danger zones. There's segregated a zone based on the severity of the effects in the area. So they did the zones and prohibited the use of the fruit and the vegetable consumptions. On the 21st July, the effect of release were observed in other parts of the neighboring communities like Seso, Moderna and Desio, detected with high level of TCDD. And on the 26th July, until now there was no evacuation. After the 16th day, that is on the 26th July, the first evacuation started, and 208 people were evacuated from the 37 houses. Yeah. Next slide, please. Next slide. So basically, they've split this zones into three zones, A, B, and R, in a decreasing order of the surface soil concentration of TCDD. This is zone 7. This zone A was further divided into 7 subzones, and the local population was advised not to touch or eat locally grown fruits. The zone A had a TCDD soil concentration of greater than 50 micrograms per square meter. It had a 736 residents. Zone B had a TCDD soil concentration between 5 to 50, and their population was around 4,700. And zone R, which was the bit of away from the risk area, so it was a neutral zone, zone R, at a negligible TCDD soil concentration less than the 5 microgram per meter square. So up to August, they have evacuated all zone A, and decontamination was started in April 1984, up to 1984. So this was the cloud. This was the cloud of this dioxin clouds. This was in the papers. It was observed that it release lasted for around 20 to 40 minutes. Yeah. So within the days of the this incident, around 3,300 animals were observed died, and emergency slaughtering was carried out to prevent the TCDD to enter into the food chain. And up to 1978, means within the 2 years, they have slaughtered around 80,000 animals. And 15 children were quickly hospitalized with the skin inflammations. By the end of the August, Zone A has been completely evacuated and fenced. 1,600 people of all ages has been examined, and 447 were found to be suffer from the skin disease or the chloroacne. An advice center was set up for pregnant women, of whom only 26 opted for an abortion, which was legal in special cases. Another 460 women continued their pregnancy without problems. And the technical director of the ICAMSA and were arrested. Next slide. Yeah, so these are the actual photos of the Seso incident. You can see lots of animal died, and this the children and the babies observe this skin issue, chloroacne. Yeah. So what were the lessons learned from this Seso disaster was this operators of the facility should handle these hazardous chemicals wisely and understand the thermodynamics of not only the product but also for the side reactions. The operating person must adhere to the standard operating procedures. The production planning should be designed so that the operation can be concluded safely within the available time frame. So what happened in this fateful day? Due to this shutdown of the unit for the next weekend, so this operating gang was in hurry to shut down the reactor, and they were not put this reactor to the safe working operating conditions. So this resulted into the increase in the temperature and the pressure. The batch reactor should, as far as possible, provided with pressure release system that exhausts to the containment system to prevent either a release to the environment or external environment. In the event of a loss of the contaminant, the alarm and the emergency plan should be activated immediately, and the internal and the external communication channels provided with all the relevant data and information to enable the correct response decision to be taken. Nowadays, this emergency plans are available. External and the internal emergency plans are available. So this thing is now taken care. The external emergency responders need to develop emergency response plans in advance and to train their implementation, including the communication channels. Yeah. So after this incident, some actions were taken because action was taken by this authority to remove the topsoil because it was totally contaminated. So they decided to remove all the topsoil of this 1,800 square hectares, and soil dressing was carried out. They dig the 2 holes, and polluted soil was buried under this holes and covered with the concrete. So this incident leads to the Seso directive. In order to improve the safety culture, this European Union has issued a directives known as the Seso directive, and amendment was carried out with the Seso 2 directive and Seso 3 directive. After this, Basel Convention on United Nations was also adopted to prevent the transfer of the pollutants across the borders. And this was not the first incident happened before this. Before this incident, there are several incidents related to TCDD happened. One is the 1949 Monsanto USA large release from the pressurized reactor. 228 people were affected. 1953 BSF Germany, 42 people were affected. To 1960 Dow Chemical USA. 1963 Philips Duper in Netherlands, a reaction runaway on a pressurized TCP reactor. 30 people were affected. 2 died within the 2 years of accidents. 1968 Colite chemical production UK plant exploded, 79 affected. And 1970 Bayer plant overheating, 5 affected. So this is all about the Seso disaster. That's that's all from my end, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Devendra. That's a good information. And do we have some questions from the participants? I would encourage, if you have some questions, this is your time. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Sir, can I raise questions, sir?
Yeah, go ahead, Murugadan.
Yeah, it was a very nice presentation, Mr. Devendra. You gave very clear diagrams and your findings and all, and lesson learned. Just I want to know, the main critical factor was that the reactor solvent was not cooled. Then it resulted the temperature rise and the rupture disk got burst. Means the safe emergency shutdown was not followed also, na?
Yes, sir. SOP was not followed properly. So the shutdown, they were supposed to reduce the temperature up to 50 to 60 temperature, but they are not reduced. They left at the 150, 158 degrees centigrade.
Means then the safety system, like a temperature alarm, the solvent temperature is getting rise, 158. By the time there was no temperature alarm to control room or local alarm, or control room also was not monitored.
No, sir. That was all manually operated. Even this cooling, addition of cooling is all operator intervened.
Okay, thank you, Devendra.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
even this release of this rupture disk into the atmosphere, it was not routed to some other locations. It was routed to the atmosphere.
Yeah, actually, in the later days, now the cyclohexane reactor and all, we have de-inventory tank. It is going separated header to keep to the cooler, and it will go to the de-inventory tanks. Yeah.
Right.
Ram Kumar, you have some question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the detailed information and the case studies which you given, sir. Appreciate your efforts. My question is, also there was a finding, what I believe, that in the root causes, there was no much awareness to the community on the process safety. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That was the key point actually I wanted to mention. That's why we had a lot of impact on the health, including the animals and various other ailments. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right. Do we have some more questions? Go ahead. If someone is having some more question, we will take one more, and then we will go for introduction session.
Yes, sir. I'm Shekhar. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for your excellent presentation. And regarding your process operations, you have mentioned that temperature is not able to bring down to the operating temperature, which has mentioned that. And that those days there is no automatic instrumentation system is not there, correct?
Right.
But manually, the locally instrument would have been there. The local instrument might be observed by the local or field operations personnel or during their roundup. During that operations, regular roundup, the operations staff or operations personnel is not able to record it, or any other observation was made it, or the temperature local instrument was faulty indication was shown, might be happen. So,
Sir, what happened, sir? This was the batch process, right? So this IMSA was not operating this batch process in the weekends. So they were supposed to take the shutdown and close the plant for 2 days. So they can have this weekend, and they will again start on the Monday. So in the Saturday, maybe in the hurry-burry, they taken the shutdown and not followed the complete procedure.
Okay.
Cool down the reactor by adding cooling water or something. So this was not protocol was not followed actually.
That means that the
So
periodical.
even in the rise in the temperature, nobody was there in the plant to observe.
Okay. No, since it is the batch process, there must be some procedure must have maintained, right?
Right, sir. Right.
So my query is during the operation, the temperature was not able to bring down. The local instrument might also be fault on that.
So I've read at one location they are maintaining like this. This temperature recorder was also manual, so they put it off this temperature recorder. So the last recorded temperature was 158 degrees centigrade. So it was also manual at that time.
Okay.
So they before shutting down the plant, after shutting down, they recorder also put it off.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we will close this question answer at this point. If there are more questions, we encourage toward the end of the meeting, we could ask the presenter, Mr. Devendra Rathod. Thank you, Devendra. It was very good. In fact, this incident would be known, it went into history because of just now, as Devendra told, that first process safety related regulation was put in place. It was even much before, the Seso 1 directive was put even some 15 years before the OSHA PSM regulations came in force. That was in 1992. And this was all across European Union. That time, even UK was part of that. And Trevor Klitz has written a lot about this incident. Runaway reactions are very frequent. Many of us, we deal with oil and gas, so we don't encounter so many opportunities for such runaway reactions, although there are some few places where it is still possible. But in chemical industry, in fine chemical industry, even in petrochemical, there are a lot of processes where runaway reactions are possible, and that is process safety is much about protection against such runaway reactions as well. So now let's take a few minutes to introduce ourselves. And since there are over 76 participants, we request those who are joining for the first time to introduce themselves. They can tell about their name, where they are working, their past, what made them join this group, this forum. So I believe, Devendra, this is your first meeting, so we can start with you maybe.
Sure. Sir, I am Devendra Rathod, sir. I am having a 14-year experience in refinery operations. And the part of the operations, I'm also involved in the PSM related activities, HAZOP and all these things. Before this, I was worked with Bhatinda Refinery, HPCL Mittal Energy Limited, and before this, it was in Reliance. So after that, I joined KMPC Mina Abdullah Refinery, and I am working as operation engineer for a clean fuel project, sir.
Welcome. And how did you come to know about this group?
Yeah, through the social media, sir, I got to know about this group, sir. Yeah, so it was a great opportunity to join this group, and I recently completed this certified HAZOP leadership program as well. So it was also a wonderful session. Thank you, ASSP Kuwait, for doing all these things.
Great. Are there more new people first time who are joining these meetings? Is there someone who is joining this meeting for the first time?
Yes, sir.
Nitin Kumar, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm Nitin. I'm working in KPC Delhi family along with Devinder. Previously, I worked in Reliance, and for 8 years, I worked in HML Bhatinda also. I'm having total 14 years experience. Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is a very nice forum for new people, and also for experienced people like us to share our knowledge and know each other. Thank you.
Welcome, Nitin. Do we have some more people?
Yeah, hi. Sir, good evening. This is Rajan Kumar.
Welcome,
I have
Rajan.
7 years of experience. Yeah, I have 7 years of experience in multiple, like different industry, like high-rise building, metro, tunnel operation, like railway, like that. And currently, I'm working in Tata Projects Limited as a HSE manager, and through LinkedIn, we just shown this program webinar. Like earlier, we have already completed 2 sessions from ASF, and this one our 3rd session. So very wonderful and very effective for us and our professional. So thank you, sir.
From where you are calling, Rajan? Which town you are? Which city?
Yeah, sir. I am from India. Currently, I'm in Pune, Maharashtra.
Okay. So, what project you are handling currently?
Yeah, currently I'm handling, sir, commercial building project, high-rise commercial building project.
Good. And although high-rise buildings do not have chemicals involved directly, however, all the components, most of the components of process safety management are applicable there. And thank you for joining. Welcome, and we hope that you will continue with us. Are there more new people?
Because of, sir, I have completed a BTech Fire and Safety Engineering. So they have already completed like process safety management, like chemical process safety, environment, disaster management. So that we think means this one very useful for
Yes,
like
of course.
if we joined in any refinery. So that way.
Great. Welcome, and continue with us, please. Is there someone else who has joined first time, would like to introduce?
Good evening to all. Myself is Himakar Ummadi. I was worked with in various projects in Kuwait. Recently, I have joined. My previous employer was Technicos Rendas, Aljur Refinery project, package 1, sorry. And now currently I'm working with Alkut Industrial Projects. I heard about ASSP through my friend Mr. Pawan Kumar. He encouraged me to join here. Thank you all.
Very good. And what is your background? Are you a safety professional by?
Yeah, I'm a safety supervisor.
No. Are you? What is your educational background?
Yeah, I'm BSc chemistry, sir.
Okay.
I'm BSc chemistry. I completed my NABOSH IGC, and I'm working here since 8 years in Kuwait.
Good, very good. Welcome, Himakar.
Thank you so much, sir.
Are there more people? Okay, so we will continue. If some of you are not able to listen properly, or some of you are not able to connect properly, this is the time that we move to the second presenter. And the second presenter is none other than Mr. Sanjay Jaswal. He is a very, widely experienced and qualified safety professional. So we would listen from him about some failure leading to LPG fire and explosion. And we hope that it will be something very personal that he would share with us. This is what we call experience sharing. Sanjay, welcome. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I hope my voice is clear to all.
Yeah, you are clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Ujwalji. Thank you, ASSP Kuwait chapter. Ramna, can I put up the slide myself? Let me check if it is possible.
Yes, sir. Please try.
The slide is appearing on screen, Ramna?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me put full. It's clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, I'm Sanjay Jaswal, and I'm basically a fire engineer and have about 30-year experience. Half of my experience was in Indian refineries, and before I moved to Middle East, and I came straight to Kuwait, and since then continuing. So last 15 years I'm working in oil and gas companies locally here. And I have been fortunate to have a great company of very experienced and very supportive and inspiring leaders locally, under whose motivation I have joined ASSP and grown into the profession. Today I'm going to share with you my personal experience, as Ritik sir has rightly said. I was there in that place. I have joined later on after the incident has took place, and I'll be sharing as I go through the slide. This is all about large LPG release from sphere LPG storage areas, which has made a vapor cloud and travel all around the storage area, moved to the plant area, and got source of ignition, where it flashed back and has gone into the explosion, blaze, and then continued fire. Okay, this is the location you can see of the city where this refinery was located. This the star location. So you can see why I have shown you this refinery in the beginning was away from the city, but after the refinery has come, lot of habitation has come around, and it was a densely populated area around the refinery. So this is the community risk from the refinery operation. You can see in the yellow line the area under which refinery was operating. And this is all the layout around. There was a very important naval base in that area. There was a shipyard and many other companies around, in addition to the habitation. A lot of people were staying. Now this story goes back to LPG storage area. Is one of the small part of the 4.5 million metric ton refinery, which produces a little of LPG, but most of the LPG was being imported. This has a story. Exactly, refinery or the city did not require that large amount of LPG to be imported, but it was a strategic need of the country. India did not have enough LPG to cater to the requirement of industries and domestic front to meet the need. So it needed a lot of LPG to be imported. If I think maybe about 70% of its requirement was being imported. So India found that particular city, which is a coastal city, and has had a setup of port and storage location. So they have planned a strategic import of LPG from Middle East and other countries, and that was being stored there. And after storage, it was being distributed by road, by rail tankers, and other means, and through pipeline also being distributed around. So you can see here, there is a ship, and this is the location, which is very close to the refinery. and from the ship port location, ship was unloading through pipeline. LPG was being pumped into the refinery, and if you can see my cursor, this is the location where all the LPG spheres were located, and the LPG import LPG was being stored here, in addition to taking our own production from the refinery, which was very little. Now coming to capacity, as I said, the refinery had a very little capacity of 4.5 MMTPA, and in addition to, as you know, all refineries produce naphtha, kerosene, diesel, and many other products. LPG is also one of the lighter product, but production share will always be lesser of the lighter end, and especially when India was importing a lot of heavy crude, so lighter content was still lesser. LPG, which was being imported and produced, was being stored in a sphere, not in bullet. We had a bullet, it was a one bullet only, but 12 sphere, so 12 sphere and one bullet, and sphere was called Horton spheres. Each sphere had a capacity of 1200 ton. I just want to take you to invoke the interest of all our fellow colleagues, especially those who, who are fresh and have just entered in the process safety areas. Some safety. Sorry, the slide has moved. Some safety design into the LPG sphere. If you see the sphere, I would like to brief quickly. This is the LPG sphere, and which will normally be standing on legs. It looks like it is appearing two legs, but there are more legs around. It is a section. And these legs are made of steel, but still a lot of treatment is done to it. It is reinforced with concrete, and then further fireproofing is done, basically to avoid its collapse if the fire takes place under the sphere, so it can sustain it. LPG sphere will have, you see the rings, it is only two rings. There are multiple rings which are fitted with thermal fuses, and these rings are, steel pipes which are meant for deluge system, having a nozzle to direct water discharge onto the sphere if there is an emergency. Emergency can be release of LPG, or emergency can be fire emergency under the sphere. You don't see the ring on upper side, because upper side normally you will have umbrella spray which will discharge the water onto the sphere, and by gravity it will be falling. So normally the rings are provided on lower sphere, because water will not travel down the line, it will straight away fall down, slide down and fall. So lower sphere cooling will be deprived. Other safety installation into the LPG design will normally be this concrete flooring, which will have a slope, so that in case there is a leak of LPG, it's travel down and it goes through the channel into the open storm. There'll be one line which is called inlet and outlet both. The bottom line you see, there will also be a slant line, and this is a major line which is used for filling and discharge both. It will have ROV filling and other things. Next important points are sampling point and drain point, which are most vulnerable point. And as we progress in this presentation, you will see this drain line was a culprit, one of the culprit which has contributed to large emergency. There'll be level indicator, high level, low level switches will be there for process control. On the top, important thing again, you see on the top there is a relief valve, and relief valve was connected to flare. Earlier it was not there, but during one of the government audit, it was recommended to connect all relief from all sphere to flare. And subsequent to the audit finding, the project was initiated to lay the line, and line was laid and connected to flare. It was commissioned. Important thing to this is when it was connected to flare, there was a wall on upstream and downstream of the relief. In case sphere goes on maintenance, the sphere can be isolated from the flare backup. Other vapor lines will be there, which are connected with ROVs, basically. So I'll go further. Concrete pavement, as I said, is part of a safety requirement. Drain chambers should be away from shadow sphere. Double walls are provided on water drain. Draining is required. Often, why draining is required? Because LPG, when it is imported or transferred from production, it carries a lot of water, caustic and other impurities that need to be drained. And the water will be settling down because compressed LPG has a density of about it's lighter than water, 0.525 half. So compressed LPG will be floating above the water. So water settles down and need to be drained from the water you have seen in the previous drawing. Relief walls should be provided, have isolation walls up and down on both sides for safety region during shutdowns. ROVs are also provided on liquid inlet and outlet line as a cross safety measures. Is all part of design. And leg supports are encased in concrete with fireproofing. As I said, sprinkler systems are provided. Deluge wall have remote operated controls. Gas directions should be there. Electrical fitting should be flame proof and earthing. Now I come to the actual incident, and I'll keep referring to what I have seen, the safety installation which is required in the LPG sphere to be operated safe. The incident belonged to September 14, 1997, a black day in the history of the refinery, Indian refinery. And it was about 6:40 in the morning, and it happens to be Sunday. So note, is an important day, Sunday, when people are not there. It is a holiday, weekend. So there are lesser number of people. Incident is, as I said, a lot of LPG was being imported. So ship was coming in every weekend, and about it was coming on Fridays, sometime on Thursday, depending on capacity, and the discharge starting in the evening or daytime and continued up to the weekend, Sunday night. And accordingly, a ship tanker was berthed and LPG discharge was lined up and had started on Saturday. Saturday 13 September was Saturday, and the pipeline length of the pipeline from port to the sphere was about 2 kilometers long, and but that is only one line. There are more than one line, and total length was more than that. Why I'm talking about? Because in emergency, the lot of stock in the pipeline will be feeding to the fire if they're not properly isolated. And next day, that is 14th of September, we are referring to the day of incident. Morning hour LPG was reported to fire. LPG leak was reported to the fire station. That entire LPG plant is completely covered in vapor cloud, and vapor cloud was seen traveling away from the storage area. It has formed vapor cloud, very dangerous, almost invisible. As per procedure, the siren was blown and people have started evacuating from the area. The moment siren was blown, subsequently a loud explosion was heard, and entire area was unseen because it has created its own dust and completely invisible. So people have started running around, complete chaos around. So this was a major disaster. Observation: about 60 people died and very large fire have taken place in LPG area and surrounding storage tanks were there. I'll show you in the drawing later on. Control room was completely gutted. It has come down, and all controls were demolished under the control room building. In addition to that, nearby building, which is a administrative building and other building, all the buildings were completely closed, including the fire station. The fire station was also quite close to the LPG storage area. And you think when you have your own fire station gets gutted in the building, it has a one-story fire station, roof collapse, all fire tenders, all firefighting equipment housed in the building were crushed completely. So you are handicapped completely. You can't do anything. The good thing that the worker in fire station, after receiving the call, they were alert, and as they heard the sound, they ran out of the fire station and they escaped safe. But all the operator in the storage area have died controlling the fire. I'll tell you how things has happened and how they were caught in the cloud. All plants were safely shut down. Main and train gate were damaged, so no vehicle was able to come in and go out, because in emergency we had a mutual aid program which was not able to execute due to problem with the entry gate. Electric power shutdown was there. Communication channel have shut down. There was no communication. And fire water line were also punctured, bursted, because due to explosion blast, nearby line have opened up. So entire fire water pressure has gone down zero. And as a result of LPG sphere fire, about 5 number LPG and propylene sphere out of 12 were damaged, and about 11 product tanks which were involved in fire have also completely damaged. This is one of the picture from I could get from net. Although as this incident is not officially, this incident investigation and report is not officially released by the government and agencies. So whatever available information is there and my memories, I'll be trying to relate this incident to, so that we can have a good learning. These legs are very vulnerable for all the LPG sphere. You see the leg is broken. This sphere has collapsed down. It has fallen down due to the pressure wave which was created about 0.2 to 0.3 psi due to the explosion. The shock wave was enough to cause it collapse. So leg was gone, sphere has fallen down. It has disconnected from the flare line. LPG started releasing, and it because we don't have line to route LPG, it was thought safe to allow safe burning of LPG, so it continued to burn from the top so that it can release its stock. This is another view of the disaster site. You see all the fire around, the condition. One of the building is called Technical Services Building, housing 2-3 different departments inside. You can see the face of this building. The pressure wave has caused a greater impact in this, and building was completely out. Good thing Sunday and time was also morning, so nobody was there, so we could reduce the fatality. This is another administrative building where general manager and HR and finance people were there. It is the front side. Actually, back side of this was facing the LPG storage. It is quite close, and it could from the back side it is completely gone. So front side is not that damage visible. So this building was also completely out. One of the tank firefighting on site. I have taken this particular picture. I could remember. This is the hammer blind spectacle blind, and this after the release of LPG, when they see vapor cloud was being formed, they tried to isolate the feed to the sphere which was inline and being pumped from the ship. And in the process, they tried to insert this blind. They could not do it because it was not being maintained. It was not being used and not being maintained. Not being used and maintained, both are different. You may not use it, but the equipment which is designed should be maintained. It was not being maintained, so one of the failure of the mechanical integrity program. So they could not insert it. As a result, LPG continued to feed. I talked about, all the authorities have come to help because our own fire system was collapsed completely. Process plant was shut down. Feed tanks means the naphtha, kerosene, diesel, and other feed tanks were isolated to the extent possible, but still some stock was there. Good thing that before 14th of September, 13th of September, the major turnaround program was completed. It was scheduled, they have completed, and unit startup was going on. The good part is there because it was a turnaround and they were doing shutdown of the plant. So you can expect the minimum stock in the tank. So all the tank which was caught in the surrounding of the LPG storage fire area had a minimum stock because the refinery was shut down. Otherwise, loss would have been more. Okay, some layout drawing and showing exactly where the fire took place. This, it is not a complete layout of the refinery, but if you see my cursor, these are the administrative building. But before the administrative building, quite close to this was a cafeteria, and cafeteria which was cooking the food using open flame. They have a gas stove, and that was being used facing this LPG plant. From here, if I can guess, must be about maybe 100 meter or so, or maybe little more, approximately 100 meter or 120 meter from the fence of this LPG sphere. And this cafeteria is supposed to have give the source of ignition to the vapor cloud. It has a substation also quite close. Fire station was somewhere here on this side, other admin building, and entire LPG storage area which you see around round shape spheres. These all are at the entrance of the refinery. These are entrance corner, and so you can see the spheres which were on fire, and you can also see the adjacent tanks. These are the tanks. These sections are all LPG sphere. This is one bullet, and other are a sphere which are on fire. And these are the adjacent small tanks, product tanks, naphtha, kerosene, diesel, etc., which had caught fire. And this is a positioning of firefighting vehicle and other. In addition to that, the pipe rack. This is the pipe rack, and this pipe rack, entire pipe rack was also on fire because due to explosion, the pipeline have ruptured and was feeding fuel to the track, and it has caught the fire. Different days, different scenario as a fire being controlled. Now, coming to main point, what has really gone wrong on that day? There are 4 operators in the LPG plant, all 4 in the fateful night of 14th September. They have, when ship was discharging, they have filled one sphere and lined out other sphere to fill. And after filling one sphere, they thought, and that was a normal practice also, to generate the space, because when sphere is full, Normally it will have a water as we talk, and they had a practice to drain the water so that the level can come down, and the volume water has can be adjusted against the LPG, so they can take more LPG into the sphere called allege. Now here, what they have done, because it was night and normally they will have a lot of water, so they opened the drain, and after opening the drain, now here experience, they have a lot of ignorance. After opening the drain, it was a night shift, they have calculated they normally their own assumptions or presumptions and experience, they left it and thought maybe it will take an hour. So let's go back to the control room, have a cup of chai or coffee, relax and come back. And they left and gone to control room. Because all 4 operators have died controlling the fire emergency and not reporting in time to fire station, when they first saw vapor cloud, they tried to manage it, they tried to cover it, they tried to cover within themselves so that it doesn't become an issue and no questions are asked to them. So they tried to manage themselves to the extent possible. They all were caught managing this and covering this cloud, the LPG leak, and they could not do it, they could not manage it ultimately, and finally that has gone out of control. During the blast, they all have died in that. So the practice was wrong, leaving the water drain and going out of it. It should be under the supervision. One need to stand it and see as soon as LPG small vapor starts coming after the water, they should immediately close it. Because when LPG starts coming, there is every likelihood the valve will choke because it gets frozen upon expansion. And even if you want to, if more LPG starts coming, you want to close, you will not be able to close it. So that's why this is a good practice. And in the procedure, it's there. One has to stand as soon as slightest vapor starts coming, they have to close it immediately. So that was a failure, but that is only one. There's supposed to be more failures which might have triggered to the emergency or might be single. So because the witness were not available, so it's very difficult to say. And so coming to PSM failure, operating procedure, water drain was left open and unattended. So uncontrolled release of LPG have taken place in the night hours, which has led to vapor cloud and ultimate source of ignition from nearest cafeteria, or even there was a boiler also, other side of the LPG storage. A boiler in the power plant which was producing steam. There also there was a heater running continuously. It might have got from the heater. So the source of ignition is not an important thing. The important thing is escape of hydrocarbon, which has at question. And no other SOP. There was multiple changes in the procedure, updates and modification to the plant, which was not updated to the operating procedure. Mechanical integrity was another failure. The frequent leaks were reported in the past, and leaks have happened because of pipeline corrosion, instrument corrosion. And why corrosion? Because the location of the refinery was very close in the coastal area, which has a very high humidity record. Normally, this humidity will be 70%, 60%. So quite in excess, and due to that, heavy corrosion remains. And being on the seaside, sultry weather, the corrosion is further high. Spectacle wall malfunction, as I said, it was that was not being maintained, so they could not close it, so they could not isolate properly LPG. That otherwise could have reduced this vapor cloud, and they could have managed this without leading to major disaster. Seawater used for firefighting for entire refinery. It was not fresh water, sweet water. It was a seawater, so heavily corrosive. That was sometime that was being used for testing of LPG spheres also. So you had to use, you had to test the deluge system, and we used to use seawater and then flush with the fresh water. Now I am calculating this. Flushing that line with fresh water will not diminish the impact caused by the seawater, because once seawater goes on the dry surface, it will get absorbed on the surface and not very easy to wash it off. So that sultry water might have its own contribution to the level of corrosion of pipeline and instrumentation. Non-release of spare for preventive maintenance was another contributor for bad upkeep. Plant layout. You can, plant layout may not be part of the PSM element, but you can relate to process safety information or even to PHA. The siting was inappropriate, I said. LPG storage was very close to the community inhabited. A lot of people were there, adjacent other plants and companies were operating, and even the LPG sphere was not meeting the interdistances of from the cafeteria source of ignition and other source of ignition being substation around. There was a laboratory quite close, which used open flame, and other buildings where operation staff's entire operation department was there. These officials were managing the operations. Emergency reporting and response was again another failure. The safety culture was not developed. As I during my discussion previously said, the operator tried to manage the leak and tried to cover up the incident, so they did not report in the beginning. Otherwise, incidentally, even firewater was not open to cut and disperse the cloud. So even that was not done. So that clearly shows they tried to, because if they use the firewater, immediately the jockey pump will go on main pump, because the entire pressure was being maintained on jockey pump in the refinery. We knew, and it continued to run on jockey pump until the blast happened, and suddenly firewater pressure dropped because line ruptured. So firewater now was not used for deluge system to disperse the vapor cloud. They reported late the emergency, and this time was very, very fatal for refinery because the time delay has caused vapor to travel further to the larger areas and cause the bigger damage. Deluge system was also not operated, as I discussed. Okay. Process hazardous PHA. PHA was not performed after the commissioning of the LPG spheres in 91. And reports was also not centrally accessible for the concerned operations, process, and even HSE personnel to access it, read it, and acquaint themselves for information. Later I felt another element was employees' participation. I remember very clearly, because the safety culture was poor, the communication was very poor. HSE was not involved in PHA process. HSE was not involved later in MOC process, and that's how this awareness was very poor and contribution was not there. PSSR was not conducted whenever spaces were taken out of for maintenance and commissioning. I think we have OSHA has promulgated PSM standard in 92. It was proposed and finally approved and promulgated in 92. And this was done in 97. So the even PSM program was quite new during that time. And the plant was designed by the very renowned consultant in India. It's called EIL, Engineers India Limited, which they have their own standard, process safety standard. And so during the design stage, the current standard of that time was introduced, but later on update and continuance was missing completely. The PSSR which was conducted maybe in the beginning in whatever form, as a form of punch list, etc. was done, but as usual PSR was not conducted later on. HSE team was never part of PSM matters. So employee participation was also missing. We can add another element, is there the deviation or non-compliance. MOC, on MOC front, MOC was not conducted for the changes. Lot of changes and modification have taken place in the plant. So carrying out HAZOP, updating the operating procedure was not, HSE has not been part of that. That's it from me upon related to my experience with the failure of LPG storage leading to, yeah.
Do we have some questions? This has been a wonderful account of a very devastating incident. Many of us around dealing with oil and gas, we need to take note of this. Any questions at this point? Ram Kumar?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Sanjay sir, and thank you, Ujjwal sir. Sanjay sir, as usual, very informative and in detail you have presented the case study, and I have enhanced today my knowledge with perspectiveness, listening to you while you present in this place safety. Straightforward question is, sir, you have highlighted the source of ignition could be perhaps there is a cafeteria where the live cooking is going on. Okay, live naked flame was there because of vapor cloud. Now, my perception is you also mentioned that it was a weekend, Sunday. Still, the cafeteria was on. That was the only query. And is there any other ignition sources perhaps possible, in your opinion? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ram. Thank you for patiently listening and your interest. Ram, there's as you know, refinery has a rotating shift, so that need to be run, and also a lot of other employees were there for streamlining this shutdown unit to start. So the shift coverage was there for them. The food, breakfast, teas need to be served. So cafeteria was also round the clock service. And as for source of ignition, see what happened, as I said, you'll appreciate. That's why PSM program, as Ritik Saab also said, the entire focus on PSM program is preventing escape of hydrocarbon or toxic, highly hazardous chemical from the containment. Once it comes out, then control is very, very difficult because oxygen is paramount, everywhere available. Source of ignition has a limitation. See, there was as I said, there was another source was beside there was a power plant which has a boiler, and boiler has a heater was running. Nearby was a laboratory which also used various source for heating and testing purpose. So we cannot rule out and as such no smoking, although smoking was discouraged and prevented, but people in the inside the room, etc., used to smoke. So source of ignition is not a surprise. It could have got the way it has traveled out from the storage area completely. It has moved on the road. I could remember, though I have not seen, because I was sleeping at nearby colony, the company colony, and while in the sleep I could heard a big noise, and I could feel my bed shaking. I came out. I thought there is a earthquake. When I came out of my house in the colony, the refinery colony, housing colony outside, I could see a big smoke above the refinery. Then I could guess there is something big wrong. And immediately later on, I rushed to the refinery to see what has happened. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moreover,
Thank
the
you.
We
wind
have
direction.
some more questions.
Yes, sir. Sanjay sir,
Ramkumar,
very nice presentation. I want to know about the leak detection system, where the LPG was drained, the water. It was started for more cloud. This means one of the contribution factor, what about the leak detection system at the plant areas?
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you very much for your question. There was a leak detection system was there, and LEL detectors were there, and for the very fact that they have opened it and gone to the control room, and they knew the LPG, that water draining is going on, it may have traces of LPG. So they will accept the alarm and they will silence it. So the accepting, silencing, and sitting there knowing that LPG draining is going on. So the response of the alarm will not be as if one sitting in control room find the alarm, what has happened, something wrong there.
Okay.
Any other question?
Sir, in general,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
Excuse me. Can you give me 1 minute, sir, to post the link for the quiz so that they will answer, and in the meantime, you can go for the quiz also.
Wind
Okay.
direction also.
Yeah, Jakula, just wait a minute. Let him post the
Yeah.
quiz.
The link is posted. I'm giving 5 minutes time to go for the quiz. Meantime, you can ask the question, Mr. Jakula.
Right.
Thank you.
So, can you explain what is this about? How the quiz process goes?
Okay, yeah. I have posted the link in the chat box. Okay, everyone can participate in the link, and whoever participates in the quiz, they will get a certificate by tomorrow, because it was automatic but I have disconnected the automation because there was some errors are typing by the people. So that's why I have stopped that one. Those who are attending and participating in the quiz, they will be receiving the certificates by tomorrow.
So this is a certificate of attendance.
Certificate of attendance.
Great. And for that, people must participate in the quiz.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you have around 5 minutes for this one. But in the meantime, Jakula, go ahead with your question. Jakula, can you hear us? Or are there some other questions? Someone else
Yes,
wants
sir.
to? Yeah, go ahead, Jakula.
Actually, wind direction. The wind direction was not towards the source ignition. Wind direction also one of the contributor.
Yeah, good question, Jakla. Thank you so much. Actually, the fateful day, the wind was not strong. So we could see the LPG traveling in all direction uniformly towards the admit building, towards the road, towards the fire station, engulfing. So all around, it was almost a silent day that day. So it has uniformly spread all around. Normally, the wind used to be on southwest direction. Had it been windy, I do not know if I see east, west, north, south. Oh my God! Had it been southwest, it would have damaged. It had gone towards the plant area, and fortunately, what I think I have not mentioned, on that day, none of the plants were damaged except one power plant which was very close. Some damage to that. Other crude distillation unit, FCCUs, and other units were quite safe, and they could sustain the pressure. There was no visible or otherwise integral damage to the structure or the vessel. So all were quite safe.
Do we have some more questions?
Actually, sir, this is Abul Ifam with you. Basically, just I have some few comments regarding this scenario. definitely there was an HSC team, but as per the outcome, it is look like that there was no management commitment or serious management commitment, and also as per the output means it has been revealed that the SOP was not updated, and there is no regular audit and inspection also. It seemed like that. Otherwise, this type of failure could be noticed before during the audits or inspections, as it is a plant area. And also it should look like that lack of fireproofing structures has been established there, or failure in the shift handover also. So these points could be noticed or could be happen there during this this event.
No, Abu Ifam, I'll correct you. Except the part of safety culture and employee involvement, all other things were there. There was a safety audit by government agency. They had a safety board, and professionals were coming and auditing once in 2 years. Safety inspection program was there locally, but safety inspection program as such was working. So you understand the difference between safety audit and safety inspection. This design issues will normally not come up in safety inspection. So both were in place. And you talked about structure. Structure was very much all right. Structure were very well designed and tested, secured. Because this LPG sphere has fell down, that doesn't mean the structure was not meeting the requirement. The problem, there is a failure limit for everything, for level, for pressure, for everything. So the blast intensity perhaps which was generated, the leg could not take, and therefore it fell down. So we have to look at the root cause exactly. Why this much large amount of LPG has come out. The first, and once we have to see, and therefore mechanical integrity becomes important. We have to hit at the root cause. We should not give any chance for the highly hazardous chemical to come out. If it comes out, it should not go out of control. So therefore there are various measures like direction system and pressure transmitter, fall in pressure, and various multiple level of controls are designed into the system to take care of, to prevent the larger discharge of highly hazardous chemical, which can lead to disaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay, and thank you all for your questions. Now I would hand over to Safdar to take care of further proceedings. Actually, unfortunately, we have gone much beyond the original time frame. So in future, I request the presenters to contain themselves in the given time, so that online staying long hours is sometimes difficult, especially those who have commitments, other commitments. So we have a few things yet to be done. Number one, that the quiz has to be reported, the quiz outcome, and then if we have some more questions and introductions of new participants, that could be done. So I hand over to Safdar to carry forward. Thank you very much, and good night to all of you.
Thank you, Ujjwal Ritvik sir, for running the session as a moderator, and thank you all the speaker for today, Mr. Devendra Rathore and Sanjay Jaswal, and our eager participant who has spared that time to develop that skill and be in the company of this. Ramna, if we are having results ready, we will share it immediately. I will take 5 minutes of yours. It is already running late, and we apologize for overshoot of the program, though bear patience with us. Ramana?
Sorry, Sardarji, it was muted. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Ramana, share that result.
Can you see the slides?
Double click, it's not showing me. It is showing it started, but it's not showing. Redo it again, please. Now this Ramana for our tutors, right? Or the speakers.
Yeah, speakers.
It is a small token of appreciation for felicitation to Sanjay Jaswal for leading the session PSM failure, leading to LPG fire explosion and fatality. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Please accept our
Sure, sir.
small
Thank you.
token of appreciation, sir. Please accept our another token of appreciation to our Devendra Rathore, operation engineer, for presenting Seso case and the safety problem in the production of 2,4,5-trichlorophenol. Thank you very much, Mr. Devendra Rathore. Now, Ramana, please announce the quiz winner who has answered fastest in 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Sardarji. I have taken 5 names who have answered in quick time. Within 1 minute, one and a half minute of the quiz announcement, they have answered. Congratulations, Mr. Manjur Rasuldar. Congratulations, Mr. Anirban Mishra. Are you getting Sardarji? Are
Yes,
you getting
yes.
my voice?
Yes, yes. Well done.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Blake Dobre. Congratulations, Jasar Rumani. I think he's new. Congratulations, Mr. Sekhar Bhagwati Reddy. Okay, these are the quiz winners, and now actually we need to announce the Kuwait PSM quiz winners also, but because of my internet issues, I couldn't able to add those slides. But we can announce the names, right?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll post in the group. That's better. I'll
That's
make
great.
a slide.
No problem. That's fine.
Yeah.
No problem. That's fine.
Better.
Thank you, Ramana, for result sharing. Now, this is time to say a vote of thanks for your active listening and active participation. There are a few announcements before I come to conclude. There will be a webinar on 23rd March, which will be a commemorating of BP Texas City, 23rd March from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Please stay tuned with our WhatsApp number 50941075. So you'll get the updates. It is on 23rd of March. This was one. And thank you for all members who has restored belief and trust in our existing committee and given an opportunity to run for another year. With your encouragement and active participation, we are coming that long way and we look forward for your participation. If Ashok Garlapati sir is around us, we will hear a few words from him as an encouragement to this session. Ashok Garlapati sir.
Thank you, Mr. Savdar. Appreciate your invite. As Mr. Ritvik said, we would like to thank and appreciate the commitment of the 1920, and we are moving to 2021 and 21-22. Truly appreciate your commitment as well as undertaking this process safety management seminar continuously 9 months ahead, continuously going on. And as Mr. Ritvik is now in US, but we truly appreciate his support wherever he is, whichever part of the planet he is always with us. Thank you, and looking forward for future events as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok Garlapati sir. Like Ujjwal Ritvik sir said, that this is a platform where you can come forward for sharing your ideas, your experience for 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't need to be a very high-five presentation, but it is giving you a platform to show your ability to learn and share something new. Thank you very much for all of you who had been here with us. And like our chapter president has shared that SSP GCC award is launched, and please spread a word in your network for the contractor in private sector to encourage and participate in this. This is a time for doing a little network, but before going for network, I will just give a concluding remark, and Ramana will be handling for networking for 3-5 minutes, those who are new, and this is the right opportunity to have a chat. We thank all this speaker for today, Mr. Devendra Rathod, Operation Engineer, Mr. Sanjay Jaswal, Safety Specialist, sharing their information for PSM failure and LPG operation. In fact, Mr. Devendra Rathod has shared the Seso incident, which was the Seso 2, one of the regulation which came in Italy. So those who are still interested, search it and you will get some more detail on this. We thank our EC committee and PSM group and mentors like Ujjwal Ritvik sir, Mr. Majruddin Sheikh, and our dependable Mr. Ramana for doing all this networking, and our President Jai Thakur for pushing and bringing it notice to every event. And thank you for your patience listening to all of this. Anyone wish to for a next speaker can come forward or name it. Anyone wish for next speaker, they can send their name.
Savdar, I will be presenting one of the case study. You can note my name, Ram Kumar Nachpuri, for April. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Great. I have taken a note. Mr. Ram Kumar will be giving a presentation on this. But like you know that we are struggling hard to manage the time. Even we are planning from 7 to 8:30, and we are sometimes overshooted. So we will encourage everyone to be a time focus. So since it's Zoom platform and longer running will be for some people, since the audience are outside of Kuwait as well, and there will be a very difficult time to manage. So I will encourage to stick to the time limit. So Ram Kumar is one of the presenter, and other members who are thinking of it, please come forward. We will take you on board, inshallah. If you need some help to develop your presentation, people are there to help you, but we need your names. to include in this. With that, I will close this presentation part, and I will hand over to Mr. Ramana for doing a little network. Thank you very much, all participants, for joining us today.
Thank you, Safdarji. Now I request everyone to open your cameras and mics. And if you want to talk, if you want to have a chat, or if you want to talk to someone, and if you want to talk something related to safety or PSM, you can open your mic and talk.
Ramana, here is a question to all the people who want to do the networking.
Yes, sir.
What is tomorrow?
What is tomorrow?
What day is tomorrow?
World Recycling Day, sir.
Correct.
Oh,
It's something else.
very good, sir.
Global Recycling Day.
Global Recycling Day. Yes.
Now the challenge, Ashok sir, the challenge is now people forget that World Recycling Day is there, but now people are considering more on the mass recycling also, face mask.
I know.
Thank you very much, Ashok sir, for supporting and arranging for speaker within a short span of time. You had suggested Sanjay Jaswal sir, and thank you, Sanjay Jaswal sir, also for being there for ASSP Kuwait chapter. Within a couple of days only, you accepted this one, and you presented in a way that at the starting stage, I was remembering 52 participants were there, and later on it goes to 80, 85, and all are there till the end. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Sanjay sir. Thank you, Devendra Rathod, and thank you, Ashok sir also. And all-time great Ujjwal Rutik sir. Salute to you, sir.
Thank you, Jahid. You're working rockstar now for the term 2022 also. God
Thank
bless.
you, Ram. Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much for your best wishes, and thanks for taking role for speaker for next session. Thank you, Ram.
Thank you. Appreciate your efforts and appreciate your actually consideration. Thank you, President.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, have a nice time, and we'll catch up some other time again. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night. So, shall I close, sir? Anyone would like to talk?
No problem, Raman. Do one thing. Share this link in our website also, so people who cannot join and who cannot benefited from this, they can go to our website and they can go for this one. Please.
Yeah. This link I'll post in the group.
Group also and in our website also.
Yeah.